Hello everyone. Welcome back to the show. And thank you so much for tuning in today. Today is August 12th, 2026, and it is a beautiful Wednesday. I'm your host, Sana, and I'm super excited to be here with you all today. And today, I'm going to start by introducing a really tremendous article from the archive, and it is packed with some absolutely fascinating insights about how the internet works behind the scenes. The title is A Bird's-Eye View on Security Considerations in Rifting. The title is Archiv 1.9867. It's long, but trust me, it is completely worth diving into today. So, what exactly is this paper trying to solve, and why should we care about it? Well, to understand that, we first need to talk about how the internet is actually built. You see, the internet runs on these things called protocols, which are basically the ultimate rules that tell computers how to talk to each other across the globe. And these rules are written down in special technical documents called requests for comments, or RFCs for short. These are published by a dedicated group called the Internet Engineering Task Force. Now, back in the early 1990s, people realized that security was becoming a big deal. So they made a strict rule that every new technical document had to include a specific section just for discussing security considerations. But here's the huge problem that this paper is tackling. For decades, nobody actually went back to check what was written in all these security sections across thousands of documents. Like, what are they actually saying about keeping our data safe? And are they using strict rules? Or are they just giving vague advice? This paper is the very first to systematically analyze over 8,000 of these documents, which fills a massive gap in how we understand internet standardization. The researchers really wanted to know if developers were taking security seriously in the design phase, and how these security discussions evolved over time as the internet grew. So, let me tell you about what they found, because it is honestly so eye-opening. First of all, they discovered that over 90% of the sample documents did actually include this mandatory security section. That sounds great on the surface, right? But there is a major catch. The researchers looked for standardized requirement keywords, like the words must, or should, or must not. These words are super important technical documents, because they tell engineers exactly what they are absolutely required to do. And shockingly, almost none of the security sections use these strict capitalized keywords to enforce mandatory security requirements. They use the lowercase version sometimes, but not as the official requirement terms. This means that while they talked about security, they rarely forced anyone to implement specific security measures. That is a huge insight into why internet security can sometimes feel a bit patchy and broken today. Furthermore, they looked at how these documents reference each other. They built a massive network graph to see which security documents were the most central and important. They found that the network is actually very sparse, meaning most documents do not link to each other's security sections at all. There are a few massive exceptions. The documents for transport layer security, which we all know as TLS, are heavily referenced by almost everything else. TLS is the magic protocol that puts the little secure padlock icon in your web browser. So, it makes total sense that it is the absolute most cited security protocol. Also, the paper found that the topics discussed in these sections are not just general security warnings, like basic hacking or eavesdropping. Instead, they are highly specific to the individual protocol being designed at the time. Now, let us compare this approach with other modern technologies and industries. In modern software engineering today, especially when building secure smartphone applications, we usually rely on overarching, comprehensive security frameworks. For example, if you build a modern web app, you use generalized standards that apply strict and avoidable security rules across the entire system. You have mandatory checklists that absolutely must be followed. when we compare this to modern smart contract technologies, like blockchain networks, the contrast is actually super striking. In web development, security is absolute, and if the code has a single flaw, millions of dollars can be lost in seconds. Therefore, their standards are incredibly rigid from day one. Thus, and internet protocols described in these older documents were built very differently. They adopted a philosophy of being just good enough for now. They wanted to get the networks running first, and figure out the perfect security later on. Compared to modern, top-down security technologies that enforce strict compliance, the internet protocol approach is very decentralized and heavily relies on the developers to understand the unique quirks of each individual system. It is less about building a giant fortress and more about giving each individual house its own specific set of locks, even if some of those locks do not come with strict instructions on how to use them. So, how can we apply the ancient concepts from this paper to everyday life in the real world? I have 3 specific application examples to share with you all today. First, we can use these insights to drastically improve how we write future internet standards. Right now, as the paper points out, security requirements in these documents are often way too ambiguous. By recognizing this flaw, organizations can implement automated artificial intelligence checking tools. Before a new internet protocol is ever published, a system could scan the document to ensure that mandatory keywords are properly utilized in the security section. This would completely eliminate vague advice and ensure that everyday technologies, like the chat apps on your phone or your smart home devices, are built in internet rules that mandate strong security, rather than just politely suggesting it. Second, this research can totally revolutionize automated mailbox or setting tools, because the paper revealed that security topics are highly prodded most referral rather than general. First, security companies can build much smarter scanning software. Instead of scanning a business network for general vulnerabilities, the scanner can be trained on the specific language and unique threats mentioned in the exact document of the protocol being used. For example, if a hospital is using a specific routing protocol, the security scanner would instantly pull the exact security considerations from that proposed document and look for those highly specific, unique vulnerabilities. This means much faster and more accurate threat detection for businesses, which ultimately protects the highly sensitive personal data with everyday users like you and me. Third, this paper can completely change how we educate computer science students and future network engineers. Usually, college students are taught general security concepts, like how a basic cyber attack works in theory. But this paper proves that real internet security is deeply tied to the specific historical quirks of individual protocols. Universities could easily design brand new courses based on the historical evolution mapped out in this exact paper. It could teach students how to read and interpret these specific standard documents, then show them exactly why some protocols survived and others failed due to early security decisions. They train the next generation of engineers to look out for for flaws, and encouraging the direct, clear, unambiguous security rules from the start. You will absolutely end up with a much safer internet for everyone in the long run. Well, that is all the time we have for this deep dive today. I hope you found this look into the hidden rules of the internet as fascinating as I did. It really makes you appreciate all the invisible hard work that goes into keeping our digital lives safe every single day. Thank you so much for listening. And always remember to stay curious about the amazing technology around you. I will catch you in the next segment. Bye-bye for now.